don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, family. We're going to wait a couple minutes to have people come in. It's been a very busy, happy time. So I'm so excited, I'm always excited to sit down with Professor James Small. And we're going to also have Mfundishi Jhutyms. He's going to come through for a few minutes and discuss his class with us. You can, in the comments, just tell me where you are from before we get started. We always like to know who's out there and who's doing what. We've had a very, very busy. Can't wait to share with you guys all the things that we've been up to. Wow, Germany. Okay, you're over there with Susan Tata. All right, I see my uncles in the house. Shout out to Dave Alexander. That's what's up. I see New Orleans. Peace and blessings, elders. James Small. Yes. Akon Divine is always in the house. He was in the house with us all of at the International Street Festival. I'm not gonna get into it yet. Okay, I'm just giving y'all a little something. All right, I see Dave Roberts. Let me get some of this up on the screen. I'm sorry, I'm just reading these and not sharing them with everybody. All right, there's my Uncle Dave. He will be traveling with us next time we roll to Kemet, so I'm very excited about that. All right, there's Yuri. Yes. We got North Carolina in the house. Nahia, how are you doing, Nahia? And Miami. Yeah, I feel like there's some Miami weather up here. All right, we have LA. Yes. Yes, New York. There it is. I live my life to live in New York. I'm from the D, okay, but I've been living in New York for a minute. So, family. There's Demetrius Keller. He rolled with us to Kemet this last time in May. We took 85 people with us, and Demetrius was one of that 85, group of people. All right, Ohio. All right, Verners and Better Maids. That's right. What's up, Marcus? Marcus came through at the festival too. Yes, the D as in Detroit. Okay, Illinois. All right. I see Illinois right there. Yep, I went to school at Rantoul Township High School. Yeah, not too many people know where that is, but I was out there in Illinois. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I first just want to say, okay, what up, Doe? All right, we got a little Detroit there in the house. I first just want to say peace. I'm so happy to be in you guys' presence. This is Happy Talks is so informational, and anytime we have Professor James Small on, our minds are about to be blown. And the good thing about this is that, and in fact, most of the elders and the scholars that come on, our minds are blown, but Professor Small got something, I don't know, he just kind of just get right in there, so I'm so excited to sit down with him. But just some first business that I just want to share with you guys. So first of all, you guys have got to get connected, okay? You got to get connected, and this is how you get connected. You go to hapifilm.com. That way you can sign up for the newsletter, Okay, the newsletter is packed with information right there. This is a better one. You just go to hapifilm.com and then click the button at the top that says "Stay Connected." Put in your information, and then we'll get an email and we'll put you on the list. All right, so it's very important that everybody is on the newsletter, because we are going to be leaning into that more in the next coming months. And so we need for you guys to be, very much connected to us. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like and share this video, all that good stuff. Share it with someone. That's really important. And the other piece is that you can go to hapifilm.com and get any of our merchandise. Now, I'm really excited, and I'm going to share this this screen with you guys, because we have all of our DVDs all of our movies are on DVDs. And so for you guys that don't know, we have 3 feature films and a conference that are all available for digital download. Now, prior to last week, okay, let me remove this. Prior to last week, we did not have Nubia and the Tekken available for live stream. Now it's available for live stream, which is really exciting news, because before we just had it on DVD. Now, HAPI, the Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization, that's the documentary that we have, okay? That documentary was always available in digital form or on live stream. But Tyke Grant's earlier 2 films, Nubia and Tekken, were only available for DVD. So now you can actually just download them, or you can just stream them all on Vimeo. So I will put up, you can go to hapifilm.com and hit the merchandise, and it'll take you straight. You hit whichever movie you want, and it takes you straight there so that you can purchase it. And you can still get the DVD copy as well. Throughout the program, I'm going to show you the trailer for the Tekken and the trailer for the Nubia, so you can see what they're about. But Nubia chronicles Tyke Grant's and Dr. Leonard Jeffries' pilgrimage. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Pilgrimage to Sudan, Nubia. And it was his earlier film. It was done in the early 2000s. And then he followed it up with another film called The Tekken, with Mfundishi, Jhutyms, and Dr. Jeffries is in there. Nana Camille Yarbrough is also in that film. And then he waited a bunch of years, and we came out with in the year 2020 with HAPI, the Role of Economics in Developing Civilization. And that's one right there with Professor Small's face, because he is literally the face of HAPI. So he is on our cover for the Vimeo version. So make sure, if you guys have not seen those 2 films, that you make sure that you check those out. Now, also, let me stop sharing this. So I see that Professor Small is here, and I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. But I just want to share with you some reflections of an event that we were honored to be a part of. So the International African Arts Festival has been around for 51 years, and it is it's located in Brooklyn. But before it, now it's the last few years, and Professor Small probably knows the dates on this, and Mfundishi as well, because Mfundishi told me he was there for like the last, like he used to go like back in the 70s or something like that. It was like, so I was like, wow, that's a long time. But it's been, it's moved from place to place. But as long as I've been going, I've always gone to Commodore Park in Brooklyn. And so I've been living in New York. It'll be 22 years in November of this year. It'll be 22 years that I've lived in the great state of New York. Tyke he's from New York, so he's grown up with this festival. He's gone, as a kid, as a young adult, And, you know, pretty much his whole life he's been going to this festival. So it was a really big deal for us last year to get a tent and, you know, represent HAPI in this festival. So last year we were like, okay, this is great. And, you know, it was just the energy. People were coming by. We had a bunch of the HAPI cast members, Professor Small, Dr. Jeffries came through. It was really, really nice. And so this year we were like, you know, we want to try to make it more comfortable. So we got 2 tents. And, you know, because we wanted people to have like a little area to lounge and just, you know, relax and hang out. And Akon Divine, Damon, he was one of those people that came and he chilled out with us every day. Professor Small came a couple of days, Dr. Jeffries. It was a bunch of people that came through. But we, you know, well, before I go into that, I just want to, before I talk to you about that more, I just want to give a shout out to, because this is some special thanks for people in terms of us getting the space, getting all our stuff down there and getting back. Because let me tell you, I am not a full-time vendor, and shout out to all full-time vendors. That stuff ain't no joke. The packing up, the getting it there, the setting it up, then the packing it down. That is, let me tell you, I envy anybody that does that on a regular basis. Shout out to you guys. But I want to thank first Hunter and Mackie. Those are my kids, because they were charged to get all the stuff into the car and then down to the field. We had to set up the tents. And then I want to give a special shout out to Dr. Brittany Motley. She's part of the HAPI crew, but she came up from DC to help with the tent. So she was there every single day. So shout out to her. And, you know, it was interesting because it's just a funny little story about her and I. We, you know, the first day, it's so much going on and you're just so excited. And last year we were on the field. This year we were on by the food. And everyone just kept walking around with these big old drinks. I don't know what we were thinking. We just came back from Kemet, where we understand it was hot and we understand how to drink water. But for some reason, we were like, you know what? We're just going to keep on drinking these big sugary drinks. So we literally almost almost passed out the first day. And I was like, okay, no. But every day after that, we got our senses together and we were drinking water, coconut water, just trying to get ourselves together. But shout out to Brittany, because there's no way this would have went down without her. And then also shout out to my partner in crime, Tyke Grant. You know, again, muscle power, moving stuff in and out, but also just the vision of laying out the plan with clarity and, you know, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And, you know, so I just thank him for allowing, you know, for just, you know, having this in his mind to do. And, you know, we just have a team to execute it. So shout out to those cats for helping me. All right. Right. So 2 tents. And the reason why this is important, you know, when we had these 2 tents was we wanted to make sure that people who supported us knew where we were, but also that this tent represented not just us, but you guys too. So a lot of times we talk about HAPI, and people seeing us, they say, oh my God, it's you, Felicia, it's brother Tyke, you know, and that's cool, right? You know, recognition, that's cool that you guys, you know, have seen us and this and that. But really this movement, this thing that we're doing is not just about us. Everyone that supports us, you are part of the movement. And it's really super important that you understand that you are part of this. This is not anything that we're just doing. We're like, oh, we're just going to do this little economic thing by ourselves. Absolutely not. There's no way we can do it without you all. Okay. And the text messages, the emails, the cash apps, all of those things are part of this movement that keeps it going. But we want you guys to understand that when you are part of this movement, that it's certain ownership that you need to think about when you are, you know, part of a movement. Like, what are you going to do? And Professor Small is going to really get into this later on when he comes on. But really, you know, we are creating the space and we're creating leadership for this economic movement, because that has to happen for us to obtain this freedom that we keep talking about, right? And so, you know, we had, you know, all different types of people come through, and you know, we understand. And I was looking for, I could not find, you know, I listened to, and listen, no judgments right here, okay? I listen to Cat Williams. I like Cat Williams, but there's a whole thing that Cat Williams talks about when he talks about haters, right? And he was like, you know, everyone needs some haters on their team because the haters keep you focused on what you are doing. And so we understand that there are some people who are just, they're not feeling happy. You know, they're trying to, you know, destroy us. They're trying to do whatever they want to. But that's why it's important for people who are connected to us and who like what we're doing and want to be part of it, you know, and if you are supporting us, you are part of it, is that we need to make sure that you guys are doing just some basic low-hanging fruit type things. Number one, when everyone came into the tent, and they were like, oh my God, that's Felicia. Oh, that's Taki. I was like, okay, that's great. Are you subscribed to the channel? And most people are like, oh yeah, I'm subscribed. You guys come up on my feed. Well, if you guys don't know, once, like if you're just sitting by your phone, if you say, oh, HAPI Talks, the next thing you know, everything on your phone is going to be coming up HAPI something, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually subscribed. So when we had the QR codes there, so we would have people open them up, you know, open up the photo piece in their phones, hit the QR code, and they would not subscribe. And, you know, they were shocked. We were like, come on, you know, we got to subscribe, because right now we are close to getting 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is huge. But we want to make sure, okay, because when you're part of the movement, it's really important that you are tapped in. And when you guys are actually subscribed and hit that notifications button, it's like you are giving us cash money, okay? And this cash money is what is moving our movement, because movements aren't free. Professor Small will talk about that because, you know, we need money to be able to do everything that we're doing and everything that we're going to be doing, right? And so it's really, hey, Dorielle, got sorry about her too. So it's really important that you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Okay, so if I'm going to give you just a few minutes while I'm, you know, talking, just check to make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Then you need to follow us on all the other social medias, right? We, you know, Instagram, Facebook. You guys got to make sure you're following. And the other piece is the newsletter, right? So if you are on the list and you are getting the newsletter, you have to actually open it up. And we can see who is exactly opening it up and not. And so there's a lot of people that's kind of like on the sidelines. They kind of looking to see what we're doing. They're checking out everything. They're going and stuff, but they're not really supporting us in these ways that really make a difference. Okay. And these are things that everyone can do. Like, share, subscribe. It's super important that you guys are doing that. So we're going to make sure everybody's doing that. I'm going to leave that up there so everybody knows. It is hapifilm on everything: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, one of the things that we really appreciated about having the tent was just people coming by. You know, people showing up in their HAPI gear, buying HAPI gear. We brought back some stuff from Kemet. We were selling, which was really nice. We worked with Amina hair studios. She made some products specifically for us, and they had a whole box. It was really, really super nice. And so I want to just give a special shout out to people who came by and left their business card. Because I was like, oh, do you have a business card? You know, make sure, you know, you give it, because I want to, you know, make sure, because this is part of, you know, when you're a movement, right? The HAPI movement consists of 4 principles. Number 1, love Black people. Number 2, support Black businesses. Number 3, become more financially literate with your money. And number 4, teach the youth the truth. But the support of the Black business is super important. So we had Solawasi. Now, Solawasi I think he works for the International Arts Festival, and he was taking pictures. Last year, his pictures were beautiful, so I started following him. So when he came by our tent, of course, Brittany and I was like, hey, you know, we wanted to make sure our pictures were up in the on the feed for for this year. So shout out to him. Chef Shani. Shani came through. Chef Shani. Okay, let me put that right there. All right. She came through. She is obviously a chef. And she's like a personal chef. So if anybody wants any of these contacts, you can, get with me and I'll send you a copy of their business card. We had Dr. Daniel LaRoche come by. Now, Dr. Daniel LaRoche is an ophthalmologist. He's a huge HAPI supporter, but he's also written a book. And he gave us 4 copies, and he gave 1 for us to keep. Those things were gone. They were gone within 3 hours. So you definitely want to check him out. And if you have the commemorative One Africa book, you will get all his information too. But if you need it, I would definitely make sure that I get that to you. And then we had Rodney R.J. Arnold come through. Yep. And he was a health coach. And he was giving us some information about holistic health. And we had, we had Kim Fest. He was a Black animator and a gaming creator, I was like, okay, that's what's up. He came through. And we had Michael Jacobs come through. We had a bunch of you guys come through, but let me, and just quickly, and Professor Small, can you just chill out for just 2 more minutes, okay? There is this couple just little quick stories I would just want to share with you. So we had this brother come out, and he had purchased some stuff online with us, and he decided to come to the booth, and he purchased some more things. So one day he comes by on one of the days, and myself and Dr. Motley was drinking some water, Essentia water. And he came by and he was telling us how this water's not good for you, right? And so after he left, I'm going to say we felt the way. We were like, wow, we're drinking this water. And somebody just comes by and says, you should be drinking this water. So it's like he kind of read our minds because the next day he showed up. He was like, listen, I want to apologize for how I came off. And because of how I came off, I was just thinking that I didn't want you sisters to be drinking this water, that you should be drinking this other water out of a glass. And so he brought us a case of this water. I don't know what type of water this was, but it was delicious. It's in a green bottle. I should have kept the bottle to show you guys, but shout out to Billy Elder, because that was super nice. Yep, and Hotep, Ronnie was in the house. Temple of Anu was big out there. So shout out to all of them, Sanjetti. And then, and last story. So we had Miss Dorielle, and Dorielle is in the comments right now. And she's like me. She has her whole little media thing going on. And so you're going to be seeing some things from her and I lately, but everyone was just kind of coming by, sharing their stories. And that's what this is about. And not only sharing their stories, but also sharing their ideas and things that they're doing, because we all have got to get tapped in. And last story, I promise, Gordon Palmer. So this brother comes by and I'm talking to him and he was like, oh my God. He's like, are you Felicia from Happy Talks? I was like, I am. He's like, oh my God. Like, my friend gave me this information about Happy Talks, and I've been following you guys since. So we're like, so we're vibing and stuff. And so he tells me he's a teacher, and he tells me he's a physical education teacher. I was like, oh my God, listen, we need a health contributor for our newsletter. He was like, when COVID started, I decided that I wanted to write things for my people. I was like, oh my God, there it is. So Spirit was working. This brother, he went home, he wrote the first article, the one that if you are subscribed to the newsletter, you would have read his first article. But that's what this whole idea is. It's the restoration of consciousness. And Professor Small is going to really touch on that and just talk about how do we really restore our consciousness? How do we really restore our consciousness? Because that's what HAPI is about. So that's it for that. I am going to bring in Professor Small, and I see Mfundishi's in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Excellent.
Excellent. Yes. And Professor Small, how you doing?
My big brother. How you doing, big brother?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good. And you know what? Listen, thank you for allowing me to ramble. I was thinking about this morning when I woke up. I was so grateful that we had that experience in the tent, because it's one thing when you're just sitting behind your computer, just, doing these shows, but it's another thing when you're out there and, you're just talking to people, you're hugging them and ain't no mask, it's another thing. And it was really nice. I was just grateful for that experience. So we're going to first just talk to Mfundishi for a minute. He's going to stay with us for a little while just to talk about his class. So we were in Egypt May, it seems like it was 2 years ago, but it was just a couple weeks ago, May 29th through June 7th. And while we were there, Professor James, see, you're already on my mind, Professor. Dr. Jeffries and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, they came with us on the trip. Mfundishi came, Asar Imhotep. We had just 85 people on this trip. But one of the things is that every time when we went to the first place, Mfundishi found me. He was like, "Yo, listen, can I correct the man?" Because we had a guy that was saying something, and the guy, he's trying to do his best, right? And Mfundishi was like, "Listen, can I?" I was like, "Yo, go ahead, get it in." And since then, Mfundishi got it in. And so one of the things that came out of this was that him and Taki was talking. They were like, "Yo, we have to have a class." And so Mfundishi decided to actually host a class, a master level Madhu Necher class. And I'm going to show it. And Mfundishi, you can finish talking about it.
Well, you had a roll going. I was enjoying listening to you. Okay.
because we must have asked Mfundishi 1,000 questions. Everyone has tape on Mfundishi. He's like this and that and things, and and just how we walk into the space, right? You just don't walk in there like a tourist. He's like, no, these are our sacred spaces. He would say a prayer before we went in, and I was like, damn, this is what's up. And so much so, once he said, him and Taki was talking to Dr. Molly, and I was like, oh, we want to do a class. We were like, damn, that's a good idea. And it's great because we're going back to Kemet September 9th to the 17th. Okay. And if, let's see, I'm sorry, let me put that up. Yeah. And so if you're interested, you can go to icattours.com and get more information about the trip. But even if you're not traveling with us, this is a really good class. This is about to be on.
What happened is that Egypt gets almost 85% of its gross national product from tourism. And so this is not their culture. These are Arabs and Turks who have invaded that territory and taken it over and made it an Islamic country where this is like taboo, the stuff we're talking about. Okay, so they're pimping our culture. They're pimping our culture, literally. Okay, and so they're not interested in telling the truth. They're interested in getting you into your pocket, getting your money so that you can come back. So they just tell you what they've been told, the lies in the university, the lies that are in Egyptology, the lies that are in their history book. They don't say they conquered Egypt. No, they say we migrated there. Like we had, like they was a ship, go this way, So they're not telling you the truth. They took Egypt the way Europeans took America. Okay, so I need to make that real clear. So in some of the guides take a 6-week course. They pass a little test and they get a little certificate. They don't read the Madhu Necher. Now, the woman that we had could read some Madhu Necher.
Oh yeah, that was Nuha.
Right.
Family. Every time she called us, she would say, "Family, family."
Right. She wanted to be Nubian. She wanted to be Nubian so bad. She was just like, "I'm Nubian. I just don't have no melanin." Okay. James, she was blacker than the black folks on our trip. Okay, yeah. And we got just like we got some black people whiter than white folks. She was like just the opposite, like that. She wanted to be Nubian so bad. But now let me just go on. So what happened is that they got a script and they're geared to educate tourists. I made it very clear, we are not tourists. We are African people coming home on a pilgrimage to visit our ancestors in our ancestral land, and that this is our story, and we're coming home to communicate with our ancestors, and we need to know the truth. And I talk about there's 4 ways to honor our ancestors, 4 specific ways, and one is to speak their name the way they spoke their name. So you can't be calling Ursa Ma'at Ra, Satepin Ra, Mary Amun, Ramses II. So I straightened him out right quick on that. I said, here's the shin. The name is right there. It's not no Ramses III, Ramses V, the 7th. Each one got their own individual name. We're honoring the ancestors. Let's say their name. Let's not bust into a tomb unless we give homage and ask permission. So they're not used to that type of thing. So I tried to straighten them up. And you notice it got to a point where the male, what was his name? The guy, Aman. He didn't even want to speak unless he asked me after. Brother Jay, the whole second half of the tour, he didn't do no more lecturing. He just said, and now I'll introduce Mfundishi and he will explain this, you know.
Let me tell you, between Mfundishi and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries,
yes.
She was adding her little 2 cents in. That was really $1.
She added dollars in. She didn't know.
Yeah.
She was putting $100 bills in.
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Jeffries is phenomenal. Okay. So we had to do that just to make corrections so that the people on that trip could really get the most out of this. You know, just learn about this. What at the temples, they gave you just the bare root of the temples. No, we went in deep, you know, on why these temples were erected and how old they really were, you know. Yeah. So I wanted them to clearly understand the writing is on the wall, and it's on the wall for a reason, not just to take pictures. They put their sacred science, their knowledge of the mental, the spiritual, the mineral, the animal, the physical, they put it all in their architectural structures. So the science is all there. But you got to be able to read the science. You just can't be just taking pictures of, oh, this is cute. Oh, that's beautiful. So I tried to break it down so they understood the mathematical sciences, that this was an imitation of nature. This was living Ma'at, not talking about Ma'at. They were living, and Ma'at was in this architectural structure that was imitating nature and the human body. So we, you know, I had a good time. Most of the people said they had a good time, you know. So it was beautiful just connecting with the ancestral spirit. And what I like about this is that if you could read the glyphs, you didn't need a middle person to translate for you. You didn't need somebody to say, this is what our ancestors said. When you're reading the glyphs, it's like Hotep Ptah is talking directly to you. Harkuf is pulling you over to the side and saying, you need to know A, B, C, D, E, F. It's like they whispering in your ear and talking to you directly. Chill. You know, sometimes I'm reading a passage and chills run down my spine. I'm like, oh, you know, because it's that connection is there. I almost hear the voices as I'm reading. I hear them speaking. And that's why they wrote like that. They knew we would need this information. Remember, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all happening now. So our ancestors knew there would be a time when we would be deaf, dumb, and blind. And upside down, inside out, and backwards. Now, that's a terrible combination. Think about it. You deaf, blind, and dumb, and you upside down, inside out, and backwards. That means, Brother Small, that means even if I give you some good information, you can't do nothing with it. If I give you something, you don't even know what to do with it. So that's the state that we're in. So the idea now is to try to straighten this up, upside, you know, the right side up, You notice you can't see my omelet, but you can see Africa is in a true perspective here, with the going the opposite way. Can you see it?
Oh, wait, you know what?
Yeah. So anyhow, we make these so that Africa's in its true spatial perspective. So, and we got our map out now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Brother Small, you didn't get a chance to see our map, did you?
No.
We think we got one of the most dynamic maps that exists on the planet today, explaining ancient Kemet. First, second, third, and fourth golden age, all the way to the Greeks. All with the Medu Neter, all with the glyphs from Kash, all the way to Tanzania, all the way west to Yam, out into the lakes, and all the way into the so-called Middle East. And we got the true African names, the glyph, the true name of the Red Sea, the true name of the Mediterranean. We got all the names of the temples, the correct names on the map, the correct names of the kings. And it's all in a beautiful, like 3x4 large wall map.
It's huge. It's huge. It's really nice. And yeah, Mfundishi had premiered them at the street festival, which was really, that was really nice. Professor Small was there, but he couldn't even hardly move because everyone kept saying, "Professor Small, Professor Small." So he couldn't even move. I saw a picture of you guys together. I was like, I don't even know how y'all got that picture together, because it was, I mean, I tell you, everyone was trying to get at Professor Small.
But
so
I want Mfundishi to know my babies wear your necklace every day.
Oh, okay, that's good. They seem to enjoy, when they came by. Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. And I actually have I have some pictures I was going to share with that. But the reason why I'm so sorry, family. So right here, this is the class starts tomorrow. So Mfundishi's class starts tomorrow. Now, everyone, when they first saw the amount, they were like, "Oh, that's a lot of money." Oh, listen, this is a master teacher, so we're not even going back and forth about money. But we do have lots of different payment plans, okay? And so we've had a couple people call us today. Listen, we over here making deals, okay? We making deals because this information is really important. And Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, she's going to be part of the class. I'm going to drop off her materials tomorrow. She is so excited. And she used to take class with you like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Her and Taki. Yeah. And so, Dr. Jeffries, she's excited about this class. She cannot wait. And so it's not too late. You just go to hapifilm.com. You'll see a picture of Mfundishi. Hit it. Fill out the registration form. And there's a phone number on there. There's a phone number. There's an email address. If you need to work out a different type of payment schedule, we are right there, ready to help, help you figure this out, because this class is going to be it's going to be dynamite. And it starts tomorrow evening. And if you're in the New York City area, you can just come there. We're going to be at 5.
If you live within 100 miles, it's worth you just coming and being there physically.
Yes.
If you live more than 100 miles or you just can't make it, then it'll be live stream. And you'll be able to go back and watch it over again and again, because I'll be saying some things that you've never heard before.
Yes.
And so don't get scared. Just listen to it again. Okay? Don't get scared. Just listen to it again. And I'm really going to be pushing the symptomatic thinking approach to the Medu Neter. We've been taught symbolically. Simon says do this, Simon says do that, and you don't even ask no questions, you just do it. And so symptomatically is that when I talk about even the alphabet, I want you to understand the alphabet the way the ancient Kemetu understood the alphabet. Why did they choose the hawk vulture? Why did they choose the king vulture? Why did they choose your foot to represent a certain sound? Why did they? So I'm going through all of that. So not only do you know what the symbols are, you know why they chose those symbols, and you begin to understand the Medu Neter the way they did. And so when that happens, even when you get to a word that it's not in the dictionary or a word you don't know, symptomatically, you will be able to almost figure out what that word means because you understand innately what the symbol means. and why that symbol was used. So you now begin to, I do a perfect example where I explain the word. There's two words for forever and eternity. One is jet and one is nehe. Okay. So the word jet is a cobra snake representing the kundalini, a loaf of bread, which represents nourishment, and the land earth. So now you're saying, how does that mean eternity? Well, it means that as long as there's land, there will be food. As long as there's food, you will have energy and you will exist. You see? So symptomatically, now you understand, oh, that's why that jet means eternity. And the word nehe takes it another level. So they say this, sometimes they say jet nehe. That means forever and for eternity. So it's a wave of energy with two twisted pieces of flak and the sun in the center. So it says, as long as there is light, stars, the energy, our sun, your DNA will exist and give a current of energy, and you shall exist to eternity. So as long as the stars exist, you shall exist, because you are part of that. We are sun children. So our ancestors clearly understood that. So once we know why they chose these symbols to represent certain sound, now symptomatically you can begin to understand what that word means. So it goes beyond just the symbolic nature that you've memorized. So I'm going to be doing that through everything, so that now you've been put asleep. The matrix has put you, in fact, most of us are still plugged in. Most of us are still plugged in, unconscious. And so what I'm going to try to do is pull the cord out, resuscitate you, give you some real air to breathe, and try to help you reprogram yourself. So I don't say forget about everything you've learned. I'm saying you got to relearn everything you've learned, because you've learned it through somebody else's center. I used to sit with Dr. Amos Wilson. We used to talk twice a week. And he said, we see each other through European eyes, and they have defined success for us. So when we're successful in their paradigm, they benefit more than we do.
Oh, that's true.
And Carter G. Woodson broke it down in 1930-31 in The Miseducation of the Negro. He said our most educated Black people in this paradigm, with their degrees, will be our new enslavers. And our enemy could go to sleep, and we'll even do a better job of enslaving ourselves. In fact, if there is no back door, we will demand that they build one. Now, Carter G. Woodson saw that in 1930.
Dang.
And he is the founder of Black History Week and Black History Month. Okay, But you can see we've been dibbling and dabbling on this. I want to have an explosion. You realize that W.E.B. Du Bois got his PhD back in 1890s, and one of his theses was ancient Egypt was Black? And Hansberry, and there was teachers in the 1880s and 1870s who was teaching what I'm teaching. So this ain't new stuff.
Yeah, this ain't new stuff. It ain't new stuff. That's why it's the importance of just knowing your history. Just really knowing your true history and really searching for it. And just before you get out here, Mfundishi, can you just talk, because we're really excited about having the and let me put this up, the we have the One Africa conference. It's now available. You can actually rent it or stream it, which is nice. And so can you just talk a little bit about like the importance of people supporting the One Africa Power and Unity Conference, and why that's important? Like, why should they watch this? Because you opened it up. You actually opened up, the conference in Detroit at the end of April.
Well, it's going back to the whole pan-Africanism, that you know, like I'll tell people the only difference between a Jamaican, a Trinidadian, an American, somebody from Cuba, somebody from South America, Africans from Puerto Rico, the only difference between all of us is a boat stop. We're all Africans. And wherever they dropped you off, you learned another language there. And then start calling yourself after the place you got dropped off at. When you have a German Shepherd dog and you bring him to America, he's not an American German Shepherd. If you take the German Shepherd dog to Canada, he's not a Canadian American German Shepherd. If your dog have pups and a TWA plane, he's not a TWA Shepherd. He's still a German Shepherd no matter where. So you take Africans out of Africa, and we're Africans no matter where you take us. I'm an African in America. I'm not an Afro-American. That's actually an oxymoron. That's a schizophrenic person. Okay? So we're Africans in America. We're Africans in the Caribbean. We're Africans in South America. So we have to clearly understand that. So this conference is kind of helping us refocus on that. That we have to come together as one family. And that was the beautiful there, because Taki did a good job of getting different African speakers from all walks of life. Yes. From the regular community-based people to politician, to religious, to spiritual, to historical. Yes. He pulled us all together and we were all talking about oneness. We were all talking about one. Yes. You know, so that was the beauty. That was a pan-African dream. Marcus Garvey would have been proud. Okay.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah, you know, Voice would have been proud. That was us taking the rhetoric and putting it into action.
Yes, and family, I put the link in the chat. Listen, this conference is $20. It's $20, and we kept it all. You know, it's the exact same thing that everyone saw live. And you know, initially we were like, oh, I don't know how this is going to translate if we tape it and give it out. You know, we're like, we don't know. But let me tell you, watching it, I'm watching just like clips, like all week, right? So I'll just watch. Like I've been watching Professor Dr. Jeffries. I just been watching his and watching Asar Imhotep's. Because you just watch a piece of it and you have to like marinate on it. And it's nice to have it streamed, because all you do is you can look at it 24 hours a day. And so it's $20. And like when we were talking about the cost of admission, like for the HAPI movement, this is a low hanging fruit that most people, can do to help out the movement. $20.
How long is the tape? How long is the tape?
12 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's 12 hours because we have everybody. Let me see if I can zoom in on that list, because we had Dr. Georgina Falou, Professor Small, yourself, open it up, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Asar Imhotep, Dr. Susan Tata, Dr. Alicia Watkins. We had Riza Islam. He was probably the youngest person that was speaking. We had Shahrazad Ali, Bayina Bello, Jabari Ozazi, Kaba Kabane. Let me see. I think that's everybody. Yeah, that was everybody. So we had some heavy hitters that was at this conference, and you can just sit at your house and watch it. You can rewind it and go back. So family, everybody in this chat should definitely have this right here. And if you don't want to copy this down, if you just actually go to hapifilm.com, it's right there. The first thing you see when you go onto the our webpage, hit it, get it. It's $20, and it's the best $20 that you have spent all year, honestly, because it is so. You still feel very inspired watching them. You're still transformed. Dr. Susan Tata is still going to bring you to tears when you see hers. And then it was emceed by Dr. Ken Harris. He was the bomb, and he also spoke too. But his, just how he's from the D, so he definitely, he had the Detroit flavor. But just how he was able to just bring like after you saw, one piece of it, he kind of brought it all in for you. And then he connected it to the next person. Like, it was really nice. And we had a panel discussion where Mfundishi was on. We had Dr. Georgina Falou, Dr. Bayina Bello, Dr. Brittany Motley was on there, as well as Coach Alicia Watkins. She's a doctor, but she's her Instagram is coached by Alicia. She does relationship coach, but she was on there, and as well as Michael Imhotep, who's from the D, and everybody knows him from the African. What is this organization? The African History Network. And so this $20. Listen, low hanging fruit. Yes, $20 right here, Sharon. I got to put that up there, right there. He's going to buy now. That's what's up, Sharon. Thank you, because this conference, it was really, really good. And one more thing, and I'm just going to show you real quick, and then we're just going to finish up. Okay, wait. I called myself putting these all in order so I wouldn't. Here we go. Yeah, it's kind of like our little promo for all the things that we're doing, but it's all about unity, guys. It's all about unity. And those scholars sitting down and just making sure that we got this was really, it was super important, and it was a really very, very nice event. So shout out to One Africa, and thank you, Sharon, for purchasing yes, Sidney Jones. He's another brother that traveled with us to Kemet.
Yeah, so $20, real bargain.
Yeah, I know. 20 is like we're just giving it away.
Yep.
I'm giving it away because let me tell you that it sure costs more than $20 to even just put this on, put this together this weekend. So $20 is the cost of being part of the HAPI movement. So please make sure you guys go out and purchase. All right, Mfundishi. So I think we're good. Listen, I can't wait to see you tomorrow in person. HAPI will be in the house every single class. So you guys that are coming through, I can't wait to meet you guys. It's going to be fun. And if you're not 100 miles within, New York, it's okay. You can be virtual. We will be ready to go, but definitely be ready to work and be enlightened. So this is going to be great.
And if anybody have any questions on the chat, they can ask you right now before we end it.
Yeah, before we leave. If you guys have any questions about,
we give you the exact dates of each class on the flyer. So all the dates are there, and it's from 7 to 9. Okay.
Yep. And you know what? Let me. I'm gonna put back up the flyer so everybody can see, or I can take my picture off. I can't get my little self together right now. All right. Okay. We're going to share this. Right there. All right. So it's every
there. The time is there.
7 to 9. And it's every Sunday and Monday night.
Right.
Yep.
There's a few times where it's only on Monday. I'm going to be teaching 2 classes from Brazil. I'll be in Brazil, and I'll just do a live streaming from Brazil.
Yes. I don't know if we'll be in New Orleans anytime. I know Mfundishi has a lot of stuff going on this year. He's going to be, just like he said, he's going to be there in August, and then in September, he's going to be hanging out with us in Kemet, leading the tour from the 9th through the 17th. And then October is like Mfundishi month in Europe.
Yeah, I'll be at something called the Black History Month program, Black Activity History, the largest Black History program in all of Europe. So I'll be a keynote speaker for there. That's on Saturday, October 1st. And then October 2nd, I'm taking about 100 Black people to the British Museum. And then I'm going to do a tour, Leeds, London, several cities in London lecturing. And then the next week, I'm taking people to the Petrie Museum, also in London. So I'll have, and then we're going to Stonehenge.
Wow.
So that's what we, and then I come back, and then we'll be going to Ghana in December. And this Tuesday, actually in 2 days, I'll be on my way to Jamaica. So
getting it in.
I'm hitting the ground running, moving already, you know.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm expanding my mind and educating myself each place that I go to.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, I try to go to each place with my cup empty so that I can get something in it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You know.
I like that. Yeah, I like that analogy. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, fam. So, all right, Mfundishi. So I will see you tomorrow, and it's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Yay! All right. Peace. All right, family. Okay, I'm gonna bring in now Professor Small. I'm bringing him in. Hey, Professor.
Hi, Sister Felicia.
Hey, you've had a long day.
Yeah, I'm tired. I've been out there doing hedges for about 7 hours today.
I know. So you said you were going to just do a little hedges and then you were going to relax.
You can't do a little because they're still going to be there tomorrow. But I didn't hear you guys give the physical location of the class.
Yes. You know what? The physical location, I'm going to put it in the chat, is 504 West 126th Street. And actually, if you just go to hapifilm.com, it's right there on our front page. We're at the museum. We're going to be at the, it's the, I don't know the whole name of the museum. I think Mfundishi is looking for it right now. I still see him on there hanging out. But I'll get the name of the museum. But you just ring bell 1A, and we're right there. It's going to be nice. It's on 126th Street, right off of Amsterdam. So, like, if you're in like 100 miles, definitely want to come by and check out the class. 126th Street.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, you can always come through one of these times.
No, if it works, yeah, I'm trying to work it out. That's why I was asking location.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll make sure I text it to you. You know, we're always so happy when you guys come in and hang out with us. It's really special. You add a different flavor, you know, to everything. So we appreciate you. All right, Professor. So, you know, I'm not going to keep you long because you are really tired.
I'm good. I'm cool.
I told you about those hedges. See, and we talked early in the morning, but you know what? I'm going to leave it right there. So I'm just going to show up at your house next time with the little head. I do hedges.
That'll be good.
Yes. And plus I got kids that can learn how to do hedges. Them big old kids, they could definitely get out there and do some hedges. So, you know, we were in the beginning, I was just kind of giving some reflections about being out in the at the African Street Festival and talked about this, you know, that all of us are part of this movement, you know, if you're supporting it. And I was saying how HAPI is the restoration of consciousness, right? And so, and that's actually, yes, the Genesis Museum. Thank you, Doriel, put that up there.
Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis. Yeah, it's beautiful in there. I was like,
the
wow.
Genesis 2 Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that was founded. I didn't know they were still open.
Yeah.
No, we housed it on City College for a number of years. When I was over the Students' Union. I forgot my brother's name who founded it.
Mr. Clayton Wade. Yeah, Mfundishi.
Yeah, Donald Clayton.
Donald, yeah.
Yeah, he said that y'all knew him well at the museum.
Yeah, because we actually housed it at City College for a number of years.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know what happened to Donald. You know, we all kind of like drift off. It's good to know he's still working. So I'll definitely come by. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
they
yeah.
did some hard work to keep
Right.
this museum alive through the decades.
Right. He's stayed consistent. And after he read my book and stuff, he totally switched it all over to ancient Kemet. But he still has artifacts and statues of all around Africa.
Right.
So,
right. And he had a partner, the short, light-skinned brother.
Yeah, he's 90-something years old now. Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He was the guy, Felicia, that was at the door. The elder. That's
yes, I was talking to him.
Yeah, that's his partner. Yeah, that's his partner.
Oh, that man is 90-something years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, he doesn't look or act like he's 90-something years old.
He always was younger than he was, but this was his heart, his dream, Genesis 2.
Right.
Wow.
So we're making it happen. At first they couldn't be an open museum to the public because they didn't have handicap access. Mm-hmm. So they could only by appointment. But one of my students' relative was a mechanic, called in and said, I could fix it, and came and fixed it for me. It took 8 hours and fixed it. So now it has total access. So tomorrow we're also having a meeting of what hours we're going to keep to have it open, volunteer, so people can come in. So now people can have an active membership, just like you do any museum, and then we'll have hours that is posted.
Okay.
But all my shrines meeting, that's all of our meetings. We have an office there in the museum. So the museum is, we use it for our meetings and class.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and
I'm happy to hear that, because I never knew what happened to Genesis.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that Mr. Clayton was really clear about wanting to work with other groups of people, and and working together so that everyone can thrive together. So yeah, he seemed really sincere about that, and you can tell because this is like one of the first classes that we're going to be having there. Yeah. And, Mfundishi, while you're still here, can you go ahead and answer that question about your African martial arts class?
Sure. Well, we still teach the African martial arts in the park, Marcus Garvey Park in Harlem, every Saturday and Sunday morning from 9 to 11. But on rainy days, we do class inside of the studio at the 504 West 126th Street. So normally in the winter, we wouldn't have class, but now we'll have it all year round.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be bringing Egyptian yoga there, so people can take Egyptian yoga class there. They can take the African martial arts there, as well as take the African courses. So my daughter's also going to be teaching the Christology class there.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, I'm just putting this in the chat for everybody.
And tell some people that I have a few books. So my book, Kupagani and Gumi, which came out in the 1990, is back in print. And so there's not a whole lot of copies, but I have a dozen or so, so they can order that book.
Okay, right there, guys. That's the whole name.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Professor, talk to us about, I don't even know why I ask you questions, because whatever I ask, you end up talking about your own stuff that makes more sense than what I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question anyway. About this whole idea of the movement and the restoration of consciousness. What did you mean when you said that?
Well, almost the same thing that Mfundishi is talking about. I mean, what is consciousness? Consciousness is having a body of knowledge of yourself and your past, and you work from that space. If you have a body of knowledge of your enemies, history, and past, you work from that space. If you want to have African consciousness, you have to have a body of knowledge that is African, and you work from that space to build your everything, to build your personality, to build your character, to build your family, to build your relationship, to build your society. Is one law. I love the way you were explaining the symbols used for the Medu Neter, and because that's it, because nature and the cosmology is what we're imitating, we're emulating. There's the Ewe people who say they migrated from Kemet and ended up in West Africa, referred to God as the totality of creation itself, the totality of everything, cosmology, ecology. That's how they define the divine. It's not something up there, down there, over there. It's everything. And in that everything are the aspect that makes up the whole thing. And those relationships is based on the laws that governs what the relationships in nature is to the relationship to other things in nature. The things in nature all have a relationship. They all have meaning. Everything in the cosmology, we may think the star is way up there, but we receive light from every star every day. We receive light from every planet every day. Without that, we could not exist. That energy that he was talking about, that energy that comes from the light. Our, what they call the sacred science of ancient peoples, had to do with hundreds of thousands of years of study, of observation, of contemplation in this thing we call nature, in this thing we call the human being. We've got medical books in Kemet that deals with the heart, deals with the brain, deals with the stomach. You know how long you have to, just to mummify, do you know how long you'd have to study to come up with that body of knowledge? Just to mummify. It wasn't so simple as, some bodies in the desert dried up. That's the crazy white man's thing. We figured this out through years of trying to understand how to preserve that institution we call the temple, the body, the house, that energy we call the spirit. And they still practice this in West Africa. I didn't learn about mummification from Kemet. I learned about it from Ghana. I've been in the rooms. I've poured last rites to the pharaohs that exist in Ghana. They do the same thing they did when they were in the Great Land in the East. They didn't lose it anywhere. And so the class you're now presenting, which you've been presenting all along, we know each other going back a lot of years. I know your spirit. And so the things we encountered in February, when light comes into a space that is dark, what happens to the roaches and the rats and stuff? They scamper and scatter, don't they? It causes confusion, you know what I'm saying? And trying to say there's something wrong with light, because the stuff they were doing in the darkness that had everybody bamboozled, that they were doing something essentially right. And so HAPI, and one of the big tasks of HAPI is not to become corrupt by this concept of success. Okay. No knowledge, and Mfundishi is one of the greatest priests I know out here. And I'm not calling him a priest because I go to his temple or anything. What makes him a priest is that he's a scientist. All right? Our priests weren't preachers back in the day. Our priests were technocrats and scientists of the universe, scientists of the human consciousness, scientists of the environment, scientists of astronomy. These scientists is who the West has got us calling priests. But that word priest, there's no way to translate that minimal word into what our great teachers were. So what we've presented is an opportunity more than anything, because HAPI was a couple of people, we didn't know shit either, to be honest about it. But we presented an opportunity for the great minds like Mfundishi, like Rosalind Jeffries, who sometimes, and Dr. Leonard Jeffries. We know Dr. Leonard Jeffries, but people don't know what they're missing, not knowing Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. You know what I'm saying? This is an extraordinary spiritual consciousness who is an art historian that understands the relationship between symbology and cosmology and ecology, you know? And so, and you've got to teach it. When I first met Mfundishi, he was this badass martial artist in the world, because I lived in the martial arts, believe it or not, back in those days, from Gerald Orange to Hannibal to Ahmed to you name it, Moses to, and I was even in Kenny Lee's class back in the early days until he kicked me out because I came with some alcohol on my breath one day. So I knew this brothers from being an artist, because when you in that craft, everybody know of one another in the craft, whether you study under them or not. And then I watched him learn and grow and teach and manifest through the years, not veering off his path. A lot of people we know back 40, 50 years ago, because that's kind of like we go back in time, they fell. They got caught in the matrix and thought there was something about it worthy. But this brother, he's like him and Leonard Jeffries and Rosalind Jeffries, who I've known for almost, I know them for more than 51 years. They never veered from the path, no matter what sacrifice they had to pay. And I think that the message HAPI brings to people when we talk about a unity, we're not just talking about a unity of Negro, Black confusion, okay? Because we've always done that, create this unified confusion and tried to call it African. No, we're talking about, let's find out what is authentically African about being. What is it? You know, I play with it something, I call it God, you know, God having a human experience. I see some other people have picked that up, but they're playing with it. But even though I've thrown it out there, I'm not playing with it. We can't know anything. Everything we know about divinity comes from the mind of humanity, African humanity. Okay, we can't imagine anything greater than our own possibilities. If you could just grasp that we cannot imagine anything greater than our own possibilities, yet we can imagine the totality of divinity. What does that say about what our goals should be in terms of how we develop character? And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about consciousness. You know, conscious of what? Conscious of being the divine. Again, conscious of finding those multiple pathways that help us to heal from the damage caused by other people's cultures and religion and physical brutality that we've had set upon us for centuries. It isn't just the white man in America. That Islam thing was abusing us for 1,500 years before we met this crazy cracker from Western Europe. You know, and because we used it for a minute in time, we think it belongs to us. And Mfundishi was there. We passed through that crucible. Both of us passed through that crucible. And we learned it. And we learned that, I remember it was in Mecca that I realized this is not mine. Here I'm at the epitome. Al-Hajj, Amin, Shaheed, before the Rabat, Dalim, Al-Islamim. And all I want to do is get my ass back to Black Africa, figure out who am I? Who am I? Because this wasn't who I'm supposed to be. All right? And I never looked back because I knew I was not looking in my ancestors' face. I was looking in the face of the enemies of my ancestors. And I wanted to look in my ancestors' face. And I learned something on that trip. When I gave up and said, okay, I'll die. I'm going to die here in Mecca or Jeddah. And I'm sitting on a curb. I took off the white cloth and I put on a pair of jeans. And the only thing I had in my bag, which I then left side the road somewhere, was a blue dashiki that was designed with leopard spots. And I put that on because I needed something to tell me I was African. that, even though I thought I would die in the next day or two, I needed that thing to tell me this is who I am. And as I'm sitting on that curb in Jeddah, waiting for my death, a man walked up to me. And he wasn't wearing white. He was in full West African Yoruba attire. And I said, "Sir, I only speak English." And he says, "Oh, don't worry. I also speak English." He says, "Why are you crying?" I was crying at the time. And I explained my situation. And he said, "Come with me." And that man got me out of Saudi Arabia. He bought me a ticket. I don't know his name. I don't know to this day if it was a real man in the way we think of a man, a physical being, because I never saw him anymore after he took me to Air France, finally wrestled my passport that I want to part with away from me, and bought me that ticket and told me to be at that airport the next morning. I never saw him again. Who was that spirit? Who was that man? And so when I came back home, I never did a service in the mosque again. And I walked away. It wasn't easy because there were those who thought they had me in a trap, that I was going to be their Malcolm X, their mouthpiece for their religion. So, but that's a part of history. I raised that point because this question of who indeed are we? Now, Dr. Hilliard, who are some people want to tie themselves to him. Well, if you can't tie yourself to the ethical, moral, principle, character that was Asa Hilliard that I knew, that I worked with, stop using his name. Stop calling Asa's name. Because he was an ethical man. He was a principled man. He was a moral man. He was a pan-Africanist from the bottom of his heart. He was a gentle spiritual giant. Okay? And one of the things he said was that true freedom is being shackled to your identity. True freedom is being shackled to your identity. And so what we were trying to do with HAPI, especially after the episode in February, which was a lesson. The ancestors have a way of teaching you by trying you, see what you're made of, What kind of stuff is this? Are you jiving or are you real? And so when we moved into Detroit with the One Africa Unity and Power, that was the right statement. Because ever since we left home, we've been trying to, and was split up and scattered, we've been trying to find a way to become one again. See? And to become one again, we have to understand our essence. What is the consciousness that is truly African? What is the essence of those people? What are the cultural and spiritual tools that will fix them? Everybody has taken Kemet, and some have even created little religions all over the country, all over Europe, imitating Judeo-Christian behavior and character. That's not what our thing was about. Actually, at the end of the day, we didn't even have a religion. And what they call religion is really tools of spirituality in terms of cultural ceremonies and the things you do to teach ideas, concepts, and principles of the greater understanding of your beingness. So HAPI has really opened up a portal, and thank God, only the right persons have been able to walk through. And see, that's what was happening back in the winter. We opened a portal and we invited everybody in, and some wasn't worthy of walking through that portal, so the portal got closed. It got reopened when the appropriate persons who should be walking through such a portal was there to walk through. I hope people understand that. Trying to go into detail. A lot of times we talk about spirituality, but when spiritual things happen, we don't recognize them, when it's going on. And that's hard to do, so I understand. But I saw it. You can't, for the sake of having a bunch of names, invite characters that are unworthy to board your ship. It just doesn't work. Actually, it'll sink your ship if you insist.
Absolutely.
And so this power and unity is essential, because even on the continent itself, we must recognize that slavery and colonialism are twin evils that has damaged and injured the very core of our brothers and sisters at home on the motherland. It would be an illusion to assume because you were born on the continent and you lived there and never have left there that you're an African in conscious personality and character. That would be a false assumption.
Say the twins. You said slavery and colonialism are evil twins.
Yeah.
Is that?
Both of them are genocidal organizations designed to kill the very character of the African personality.
Just like capitalism and
imperialism, communism. See, communism and socialism is no more friend of ours than capitalism. They're the same. Malcolm used to call them wolf in different clothing.
Yeah. Democracy goes together the same way. Democracy and capitalism are twins.
Yes.
They're both extremely evil and have Ma'at is not even in the formula.
No, nowhere near.
And I call democracy, and I know a lot of people will disagree, I call democracy mob rule.
It is.
Mob rule. Listen, mobs hung African people. Mobs came and raped us and pulled us out of our house because the mob agreed don't make it right. Ancient Kemet never had no mob rule. Right. The Nasut Biti, the ruler, had a council of esteemed elders. He had a council of experts. He had a count, and then those are the people that he confided, not what the mob said.
Right.
And we think that's good. And then we want to have mob rule all around the planet.
And that's because we haven't really studied African history. We've studied white people writing about Africa, trying to rationalize their space on the planet. Then we've listened to Black scholars trained by white scholars writing about Africa, trying to rationalize their relationship to the white academy and institutions and the money they're making. We saw that. That's what happened in February. Some people look and say, oh, shit, my money might be threatened. My relationship to the white academy might be threatened. I'm messing around with these HAPI folks. They're talking legitimacy. They're talking real African history. That, whoa, hold on here. That's what you saw occurred.
Yeah.
All those mighty voices.
And you know what he said in 1931? Remember, he said our most educated blacks will be our new enslavers, and you got it firsthand.
And they are.
So you know what, Professor? I'm sorry. Something you just said. You were saying how the stuff in February, and they said these HAPI people. So why is that? When we talked about this unity and this movement, why is that important? Why should everyone that's listening be upset about that? Because seemingly it's like, oh, it's something that just happened to us. But why should other people care?
They should not be upset about it. They should be cognizant and aware of it. Because even those of us in HAPI, when we were handed this scepter, we didn't know what we were handed. You know what I'm saying? We were trying to teach some economics and trying to get some historical consciousness, some spiritual consciousness. And the ancestors had handed us something enormous and special to do for them. We talk about them, and then I ask the question, sometimes do we realize that they're real? That the ancestors are real? And guess what? How real they are us. We are them. That's how real they are. When we put a libation to the earth, we're also pouring that libation to the earth that makes us up. We're dirt. All those vegetables popped up out of that dirt, impregnated by sunlight, and became apples and oranges and spinach and collard greens and carrots. And we ate the dirt in its new clothing. We are the earth. You know, if we truly understand what the ancients meant, and even when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because he was legitimate, what they did with his teachings after his death has been pretty illegitimate. But if you study what the man brought, he came to Kemet and got that wisdom. You know, and he took of it what he could back to those folks. But right after his death, Islam got taken over by the coup d'etat of the white boys from the Caucasus Mountain and the Oxus River. We call them Turks and Kurds today. And it's never been back in the hands of black folks after the death of Ali. But that's another whole story our people don't know about. But I say that to say, the sun that shines on China is the same sun that shines on Harlem. The moon that is seen reflecting the light of the sun in Japan is the same moon that reflects the light of the sun in Detroit. Okay. There is only one existence. It's just one existence. The only civilization I've seen that have mastered the explanation of that existence is Kemet. I mean, I've studied the Asians, I've studied the Indians. They come close now. When you read the Rig Veda, the Upanishad, the Bhagavad Gita, they get close.
But their closeness is imitating us.
Imitating us, right. But Kemet is like...
That's why they're close. They didn't just come out of existence.
They didn't work it out. They
right.
copied. They plagiarized. But Kemet was like, this is the manifestation of an experiential relationship over hundreds of thousands of years with the rest of existence. And this is what we understand and will explain to you in our temples, in our writings, in our dress, in our burial methodology, in our medicine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the world is afraid as hell that we'll figure out and finally listen to our ancestors and be instructed and informed by them on how to go forward with our lives in the rest of the world. That's what they're scared of.
Professor Small, I just like to tell people who are watching, when we're talking like this and we're talking about spirituality and that this formula that everybody's using came out of Kemet, I would like for them to put a timeline up.
Yes, that'll tell
see, that will cut through all the ignorance. So they can look even 5,000 BCE. Our formula was already etched in stone.
Yep.
There is no other. When you look at Buddhism, that's 600. Taoism, Confucianism, 600 BCE. Christianity, 2000 BCE. Kemet was 4,000, 3,000 years old before any of the other religions came into existence.
Right. And they came into existence as religions.
Right.
See, religion is trying to explain a spiritual phenomena and then create some practices to emulate and imitate that spiritual phenomenon.
Right.
Even the very arts we call the martial arts, you don't get a Sholan monastery where Kung Fu began, except from the migration by Black monks out of India, who learned their craft from Kemet. And out of the Sholan monastery, the Kung Fu grows all of the other martial arts form we see all over Asia.
And if you noticed that the concept of this priest, the Shaolin priest, the Taoist monk, that prototype is Kemet.
Straight up, straight ahead.
The prototype is ancient Kemet, but for some reason we leave Kemet out of that when we think of the martial, what I call it the Manchu art. But when we think of combat, Kemet is like the last to be thought of, when actually it's the first.
It's the first. I remember when I first presented this to one of my teachers. I'm not going to call his name. He's teaching at a university down in Florida now. but I wanted my children to go to martial arts. So I said, I'm going to take them to this young brother. And the first thing he did, he wanted to throw me out because you want to make every damn thing black, everything Egypt, everything Kemet. I said, brother, just go look on the walls. I mean, look, right? Don't even listen to me. Just look on the walls, you know. But even if you say you came in through the school of thought at the level of a Tai Chi, listen to the teaching at the level of the book of the Tao. Listen to Lao Tse. He tells you this doesn't come from him or from his culture. You see? And so a lot of people haven't done the reading, so Baba. Right. You know, they haven't done the deep study.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in China, I was a national champion and I got a free trip to China. And so I visited several of the Shaolin temples. And on the walls, you see the black man on the wall teaching, right? So my question was, how come in America, we're not learning about this? We just hear Chinese, 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 right. And we're not hearing African, African, Chinese, African, Chinese. He said, and he looked at me with a straight face, and he says, I am Chinese. I teach Chinese culture. You are African. It's your job to teach African culture. Right. We won't deny it, but that's not our job.
You and I had a mutual friend. She was one of my students from City. She went back home. Thanks to your teachings, my teachings, and Dr. J, she met a beautiful brother. They got 2 kids now, got married, Kazu. And I talked to her yesterday because I sent my sympathy over Abe's death. And they got married wearing the last black samurai costume. I got the picture upstairs. They wanted to say, thank you, Mfundishi. Thank you, Brother Small. Because that child was lost, but we gave her back herself. And she went back into that culture. Then she had her mom take her to the main temple. What's the tradition called? And because she was doubting me on the Black Buddha. But when she went to the inner sanctuary of the inner sanctuary, she had to send me the picture. She sneaked back and says, Brother Small, he's black. I know, I told you, you know. So the knowledge is there, it's everywhere. But you have to want to be you to even see it.
Yeah. And see, we've been damaged, and we need to talk about this here, Sister Felicia. We've been damaged so bad over this 2,000-year period, is that even if we do a DNA test and it said you got 70% of your DNA is from West Africa and you got 3% Irish. With that 3% Irish, your home is going to look like the Boston Celtics locker room. You know? We're so proud to be everything else, but the 90-something% African, you're not that excited about. I mean, you know. So,
but here, Mfundishi, here's the kicker.
We don't know the real. You know why? Because we don't know the real deal to be African. We just know what they're showing us to be African. Because if you know the real deal, like if you go to Kemet and like you're saying, if you go places and you do this deep diving and you actually read, you know, the books that scholars have taken their whole lives to read, then you understand that the true, you know, like the true African, and that you just gulp it up.
The devil showed you when you were there. Did they not bar you from going to the Nubians?
Yeah. Say that again?
Did they not bar you from going to the villages of the Nubians?
Yes.
So the devil's clear. Yeah. If we allow this hookup, Kitty bar the door. You understand?
Yeah.
He understands who we are better than we do.
They didn't want us going into the village.
That's right. Yeah. So he understands that that's like taking a plug and sticking it in the socket.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that electricity gonna flow. So, but we are the world. We are the universe. That is the key to understand. Yes. We're not a speck of the universe. We are the universe. It's just like he used the Irish. The Irish used to be black.
Oh, You know
And
that
the mind of
they're
you know
telling
what I'm
the story now. They're
right. So
saying that red hair comes
right.
from the Africans who came there. They have red locks and blue eyes and black skin. And the Irish are now admitting that the original Irish were all African people.
Yes, they have to. And that's why they were marginalized only until recently, because they need their numbers to swell the Germanic white American census. So they own on the mixed race. See, they take one of our light-skinned people try to make us think we mixed race. No, the Jews are mixed race, Irish are mixed race, Italians are mixed race. You understand? The reason they hate Mr. Putin because he mixed. He's not a white Russian. You understand? Putin is an Asiatic African white man. They know that. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Schwarzer, black, nigger, black, Arnold the black. You know? I mean, they don't think we see what they think they're hiding. You know? And that's why, you know, I always use that term lightly. History erases the mystery.
Yes.
And so when we have a master teacher,
medicine.
you know, when we have a master teacher opening up in a way he has not really opened up, please rush to these classes. Please seize this opportunity.
Yes.
This is the door that has opened. All right. The ancestors have sent a priest among us, have sent a scholar who have put in decades on decades on decades learning how to be what he has become. He didn't read a couple of books and write a paper and did a dissertation. I know him having put in decades upon decades upon decades. I know him when he didn't even know me. I knew him. And I've watched him over all these years. Take this class that Mfundishi is bringing forward. The ancestors have brought him to us. Take advantage of the manna. They talk about the manna that fell from heaven. This is manna that has fallen from heaven. That was a metaphor about a body of information even then, okay? There was no bread dropping out of the sky. It was that they had got a hold of some of our juju, you know, and helped them to survive. We were the manna. Our knowledge was the manna that fell from heaven. You understand? So here's this manna falling from heaven. Put your hands out. Eat till your bellies are full. Take this course. Take this class. I don't know what the price is, but I don't care because it's priceless.
And we have a payment plan.
They have a payment plan worked out. It is worth it. It is worth it because the question of finally arriving at knowing who you are is the most powerful, exhilarating, and beautiful thing that can happen to any living being. And this class will lead you to that door and give you the courage to open it. And that's important.
Yes. So family, please like and share and comment on this video. Okay, now I'm telling you, we know a lot of you guys are by the sidelines looking to see what HAPI's doing, who they got on, you know, just taking in, you know, listening to these two brothers and not liking or sharing this video. That's very important. That's the cost of admission to the HAPI movement. You got to like and share these videos and get to be subscribed to our channel. That's the least. That's the least of what we're asking. I want to give some special shout outs to some people who hit us up on the super chat and Cash App. Thank you, Miss Olivia, which she's going to be, Miss Mercier is going to be part of your class tomorrow. So we're really excited about this. This is the sister who took 3 trains to get to the One Africa conference.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
She was the first person when we said we were going to do it in Kemet. She was the first person to secure her ticket for the live stream. And then when we moved it to Detroit, she was like, I'm going to be there. And so literally she took 3 trains to get there. You know, shout out to her for her donation, and Timbo, thank you for your cash donation. And there was one more, and Ellen, Miss Ellen, thank you so much for your donations. Listen, guys, the movement is not free. It's just not. But you know, things cost money. Please make sure that you guys are, just subscribe again before these Babas continue. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are at like 23,600 and something. We're trying to get to 25 by the end of the month. And that's doable. We should be at 25 million, but 25,000 subscribers. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and that you're following us on other social media, and that you have purchased your copy of One Africa, because a lot of what Professor Small and Mfundishi is talking about is this idea of collective thought.
I like to just make one statement. Whenever you say my name, you got to put the two names together. You got to say Mfundishi Jhutyms, because I need to make the statement.
Okay.
I'm the fourth Mfundishi. There's Mfundishi Maasi, who was my teacher, who used to be the bodyguard of Amiri Baraka, who was named by Malana Karanga. There's Mfundishi Talona from Chicago, who was the co-founder. Then there's Mfundishi Tayari Cassell, one of the greatest martial artists in the world. I was the fourth Mfundishi. So, and now there's about 10 other Mfundishi. So I'm not the spokesperson for the Mfundishis, okay? So
okay.
You gotta say Mfundishi Jhutyms or Mfundishi Salim or Mfundishi Hassan, but you gotta put the two names together.
Okay, Mfundishi Jhutyms. I like saying your name together.
So I hope that was clear, because
Mfundishi Jhutyms.
Right.
Yes, Mfundishi Jhutyms.
Because Mfundishi is a title. It means great spiritual grandmaster. Okay, so you need to be able to define, well, who is this great spiritual grandmaster? Because some Mfundishis is into Ifa, some Mfundishis is into the Congolese style, some Mfundishis is into Voodoo. I'm the only Kemetic priest that's an Mfundishi. Okay,
wow.
So that's why you got to say Mfundishi Jhutyms. That distinguishes me from the other Mfundishis.
Okay, that's good to know. After only 4 years of knowing you, Mfundishi Jhutyms, you're just not telling me this, but okay, there it is.
He's not telling you his name.
I got it. So listen, family, y'all have to get this One Africa conference because I was joking Mfundishi Jhutyms when he came off of the stage, because like he was powerful in opening up. We couldn't have picked a better person to open up this conference, but the best thing was when he walked off of the stage. I wish I had another camera on me, because it was just like, it was so, I just felt so inspired, him just walking, like you walk like an Mfundishi Jhutyms. I don't know what an Mfundishi Jhutyms walks like, but I know you were walking like
he did.
Powerful. Yeah, I was like, okay. And I was like, I've never seen you. Like, I always walk like this. It's like, no, I see you. And I was like, it was just such a beautiful time. So I really want you guys to make sure you get your copy of One Africa and help us get to 25,000 viewers on. We know we have more than 25,000. Like I said, you guys are on the sideline, just peeping in at what we're doing. We're like, we need for y'all to come on over here, like these videos, and get on so we can, so our movement can, pick up steam and keep going. All right, that's my commercial.
No, that's a good commercial, and I second all of that, because it's about information if you want to grow. Yes. Information is what's going to transform your character, and that's going to transform your behavior, and that's going to determine the nature of your influence on others in your family and outside of your family. That's what this is about. It's about growing yourself, rebirthing yourself to grow yourself so you can help others rebirth themselves to grow themselves. That's what we're fighting to do.
Yes, that's what we're fighting to do. Yeah. So Professor, we were talking, and I know you don't remember, because every time I say something like I was just in the moment, I don't remember what I said. But I think it was yesterday when we were talking about this idea of like knowing yourself, and once you know yourself, then you can be amongst others and you can make a collective change, right? Mm-hmm. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Well, one of the best examples is Malcolm X, Al-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, Omawale. Yesterday on the movie set, we have a beautiful brother who's directing a large portion of Malcolm role. And I got a call from another writer, and she wants to know, because she has to come up with the overall theme of this last few months of his life before he dies. And she wants to know, was Malcolm, did he make himself did he deliberately martyr himself? And people's concept of martyrdom was wrong. I'm going to answer your question with this story. Malcolm wanted to get out of that ballroom that day. And he tried to have the people there who could help him get out of the ballroom. Mm-hmm. But the authorities arrested those people on the way to the ballroom. So that the brothers who were coming from Brooklyn under Black Diamond and Sonny Carson was jacked for supposed suspicion of a stolen car and held overnight. Jamal and the Blood Brotherhood was scraped off the streets the week or two before and put on the Erie Lackawanna and set up the Mattawan. Sonny Malik and the other brothers that Bumpy had watching out on them, they were scooped up and was taken to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary without charges. He doesn't know all of this until he gets into the Audubon that day and he realizes my key players are not here. That's my out. They're not here. There was supposed to be about 10 people on the stage that was supposed to speak before him. None of them were there. And that's when he realized, today I've got to make a choice. He could have stayed in the back room. People would have sneaked him out. He would have probably been in China in 3 days because there was already plane tickets to get him out of the country. Mao had already offered him sanctuary, right? And he had to make a decision. He had to make a decision to walk into martyrdom or walk into cowardism. And he chose the decision to walk into martyrdom. He knew he was going to die. Moments before those bullets started, he knew they've got me. They've outplayed me on this chessboard. I can run away and hide. But if I cower, my people cower. If I cower, everything I've told them ever dies. Okay? And so he stood there and took those 19 bullets for us to make a statement. And he used to say, the secret to life is to have no fear. He knew what martyrdom was. And he had told somebody this is a time for martyrdom. But he didn't want it to be that day. But when he realized that it was going to be, he did not get up that stage and run in the back like some wanted him to do until they could get him out of there safely. He knew that I have to stand for something because I've taught my people that this something is significant enough never to cower, never to run. And at that point, he became a real martyr, never to die, no matter what they do. And they're still trying to kill him. I had to tell somebody on the set the other day, oh, y'all put 19 bullets in him, that's not enough. Now you want to kill him ethically, morally, and spiritually. That ain't gonna happen. Because they don't understand. When we talk about this question of identity, when we talk about this question of growth, how to have knowledge grow you, it's not a simple question. The class that Jhutyms will be giving tomorrow, you're starting. Today's the night, so it's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
It's like nectar. It's like a healing balm. It's like a restoration of consciousness in words and vibration. And I'm sure there'll be some symbols and pictorials.
And Felicia, you need to understand too that I was actually a student, sat in Malcolm's presence.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, so I've been so honored to be able to sit there, see his smile, embrace his hug. Yet, and do the same thing with Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. So all of those have been my immediate teachers to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm clear about who you are, Mfundishi Jhutyms. I'm very clear about who I'm sitting with. I am very clear that I'm honored to be able to be able to talk to you guys, to email, for you to have dialogue with me. I am so clear that I'm just honored to be in you guys' presence.
Let me make a joke, right? And I love Minister Farrakhan. None of us are fully whole. We are trying to be whole. He made mistakes, like all of us have. But he's also a great teacher, undeniably a great teacher. But when he's talking about the mothership, and I see people the youngsters on the internet get upset, oh, the mothership, da 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 da. He ain't talking about something up in the sky. The mothership is a vessel with a body of knowledge in it. Do you understand? Mfundishi, the Jhutyms, is a vessel with a body of knowledge. Like a cargo ship, right? And when you see the ship, you have to know what ship is carrying your cargo. So you can be at the docks and be on the receiving end. That's what I'm telling everybody. Please take these classes. Because if we're going to defeat the white man's consciousness, because if all the white people die today, we won't be no better off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because he's embedded in us his consciousness, or lack thereof, okay, that we're assuming to be filled with something when we are filled with nothing. Okay? If we're going to defeat this thing that has taken hold of the world, we've got to restore the only thing that can bring the harmony and balance back to the world. No Asian or white person can restore balance to the world. They're the other side of the scale. We are a side of the scale. And until we assume our posture on that scale, there'll be no harmony and balance. And the imbalance is where they thrive, and we cannot thrive. Only in balance can we thrive. So we must take the responsibility to rebirth and restore the African consciousness via the body of wisdom that have been retained, especially in Kemet, and have been absorbed by scholars like our brother Mfundishi Jhutyms to bring to us. That's basically, I could say this over and over 10,000 ways all day, but that's what we're really talking about. And that's what you have to buy in if you're really going to understand. Because unless we are ready and willing to become African again, we will never know freedom, because you cannot be free to be anything other than the essence of what you are. And if you're not restoring that, you can have money, degrees, armies, you are not free. And you will know you are not free. That's why you're going to need the armies. You know what I'm saying? So I had to laugh at myself. I can only be free if I become an African again. And if I become an African again, I become the universe again. And only then is freedom in power again. Malcolm said, make it plain. I'm trying to make it like really plain.
Well, Malcolm used to tell us, Break it down so that a
Break it down.
5-year-old can understand it.
Yes, sir.
You can explain the molecular structure of the universe and the most sophisticated prodigious theory to a 5-year-old. Now you're a master teacher.
Absolutely. And that's the key.
So that's why I kind of speak in proverbs and parallels and storytelling. So through the story, you get the essence of the knowledge and the wisdom. And I just want to say it's an honor to do this. You know, so you are honoring me. I'm honoring the ancestors. We are honoring each other. It's reciprocal. But the idea is for all of us to expand and grow so that we can truly be the Africans that Brother Small was talking about. We created this word called sovereignty. Mm-hmm. Sovereignty was defined by the African monarchs. Mm-hmm. That means being in total control of everything that you need. You're in control of your food, your transportation, your resources, your defense, your consciousness. That's what sovereignty is. So we're playing with this word. Mm-hmm. Only our African ancestors really understood that word. Europe has never had a sovereign being. We, being one, remember, we are divine spiritual beings having the divine human experience. And we cannot leave that word divine out. See, we are the explanation of divinity. It's within our Africanity.
That's the war. That's the power. We've got to be clear on what the goal is. You know, the goal is to, via the ancestors, become divine again. Let me just do a little trick. The ancestors is like a rope that's anchored to the divine. Now, are you willing to climb the rope?
Yeah. And I need to say this. I'm glad you brought that parallel there. That rope to divinity. In order to climb a rope, you have to be able to let go so that you can go forward. So you got to let go of a lot of the nonsense. You got to let go of Western culture. You got to let go of Asian culture. You got to let go of the nonsense. You got to let go of capitalism, democracy. You got to let go of all of that so that you can move up the rope to divinity.
Absolutely.
People don't want to let go, and they want to move. You can't move unless you let go.
That's true.
Yes.
And then it gets worse. They don't want to let go, and they take the other hand and grab you, although you trying to let go. And they want to hold you down where they are, you know? So, HAPI was a portal. It was an idea that created an opportunity to bring forth a body of knowledge that can instruct and inform our people on how to be free again.
You are. So that's why I said I'm grateful. And gratitude is the greatest form of love. And when you give love through gratitude, you don't care if they love you back because you're doing you're doing the right thing. That's their problem if they don't love you back. I just give love because I know it's my art and it's the correct thing to do. And I know reciprocity is coming.
Yeah.
So I'll look forward to seeing people on this masterclass starting tomorrow. And we're going to have, as James Brown would say, a funky good time.
Yes. I know we're going to be doing lots of studying.
It's going to be blacktastic.
Blacktastic, yes.
Remember in February when the world went crazy and we were all trying to figure out why, what's with this? What's this about? Somebody on the other side saw something even many of us didn't see. Hopefully, having gone into Detroit and explained ourselves, more of us see what we have been handed to take forward to the rest of our people. Somebody else saw it. They're like, oh, wait a minute. They're not just doing a tour to make money. They're not just trying to get famous and have a legacy. They're trying to free Black people. Okay?
Yeah.
And they didn't want that. Because I've been here, the first time I went to Kimber with Dr. Ben was, I think, 82 or 83. And I've been going back and forth all these years. Sometimes I quit going because I get tired of the Arabs and stuff. I have never seen that kind of attack launch on an effort, okay? They saw what some of us had not yet seen in the birthing of the HAPI movement and its intent and its possibilities in terms of its influence on our people. Because it's not just about economics. We're one of the wealthiest groups in North America. We spent over $1.5 trillion last year. We squandered it. It ain't like we don't know how to make money, because we do. And we made plenty of it. Something else is wrong with us. The integrity of our consciousness is compromised. And they saw this information is coming to help repair that. To repair that shattered consciousness, that broken consciousness, that fractured consciousness. They don't want that repaired.
Professor Fall, I want to joggle your mind just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I gave a Pan-African conference at my center, I think in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a guest, you, Mama Jeffries and all that. And
Right.
we talked about that the African consciousness was like a glass crystal ball. And it was shattered.
Right.
And it went all around the world. And everybody got just a little piece of all these little bits. Do you remember that?
Yeah, on 125th Street.
Yeah.
Upstairs.
Yeah, 125th Street, upstairs. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that stayed with me because we talked about it for like an hour. And we were like, and everybody got just a little piece. And they're afraid, Brother Small, that we're going to put that crystal back together again.
Yeah, they
so
are.
Part of that conference thing was like, oh, no, they're trying to really free Black people. They're trying to really put those pieces back together.
Yes, and that's why, and you know what, thank you, Mfundishi, and Mfundishi Jhutyms. Thank you, because that's why we need people to support the conference, because of that right there. Because it's about when you get the One Africa conference and you see all these different minds coming together, then you understand what they were trying to break up.
Yes.
And so it is incumbent, when I'm trying to think of the strongest word I can use right now. It is incumbent that everyone that is listening to this and when you share this video and people who are not going to see it live, that you purchase the One Africa conference, because what they were trying to destroy, we have it. We still have it. You have access to it. It's $20.
I'll tell you something.
It's right there.
I'll tell you something that's semi-frightening. I saw a Star Trek episode one time where the Star Trek Enterprise was trying to get Captain Pike out of this holding ground that some aliens had him in. So they shot their beams in. But the aliens were so intelligent, they created an illusion like the beams weren't doing anything. The phasers could not penetrate. They actually have blown a hole in and could have freed Captain Pike at any time. But the illusion was they were doing no damage. No matter what they did, they could not free Captain Pike. And that's what the Europeans have done to us. We actually, Brother Small, can be free anytime we want.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know we could do it.
Right.
We don't know that Africans are the most powerful spiritual entity, not just on the planet, in our galaxy. We don't even know that. We're afraid of how powerful we really are. And so we're following this illusion that we are divided, scattered, and we don't know what we're doing and we can't come together. And I think that's the outer facade that the news keeps penetrating, that the magazines keep penetrating, that even they put lackeys in there to keep talking about how this unified. I think some of religious leaders are actually paid to keep us divided like that, because it's an illusion.
I truly believe that. I even believe that people are being paid to do the shootings in our community. Somebody is orchestrating it.
Yes. And we could be free and keep and control our own destiny. Africa could be free. We need to get rid of the 54 countries and come as one unified body. Think about, we got 54 countries, 54 presidents on the continent that don't know what they're doing.
54 plantations.
Right. So how could, as powerful as Ghana is, how could Ghana compete with China on the world market? Look at Togo next to Ghana. How could Togo compete with Russia on the world market?
Right.
You know, how can Benin, compete with London on the world market? But as a unified Africa, everybody is going to be at our feet.
One Africa.
You can't even fly a plane without the cobalt, the nickel coming out of the Congo. We control the world market and we don't even know it. We are so powerful beyond what our imagination that we can't even comprehend sovereignty.
You're absolutely right, Baba. You are absolutely, that's just right on, straight ahead, nail on point.
So if this course can help create some self-esteem for us to have a undying gratitude towards our ancestors, a love that cannot be repaid back, a love that's beyond all physical love. If we can have that love within ourselves and for our ancestors, then that little piece would be a contribution towards us having a one Africa, a world unity. And absolutely. I'm honored to just be a part of that.
Me too.
Me three.
Professor, me three. So, Professor, listen, people, I see everyone's just lighting up. Baba Mfundishi, Jhutyms, Baba James Small. So, because people listen to you guys. So why, just out of, with your words, why is it important for everyone to own a copy of One Africa?
It's like going to university and not even paying tuition. Because you have some of the best minds on this planet that was in Detroit for that weekend. Okay. And covering all of the things we seem to have questions about. You couldn't pay to get a course like that in a university. You'd have to have multiple courses just to border on the body of information that's in this one document, this one DVD. So please, people, buy it. The revolution didn't die. It simply moved to a higher place. See, they tricked us back in the 60s that if we picked up a gun and wear a uniform so he'll know who we are, we were revolutionaries. Then he killed off the best of us and jailed the rest of us. Few of us who survived moved to another place and realized that's not what a gorilla don't walk around with a black beret and a leather jacket and a gun in his hand in the midst of an occupied Black community and say, I'm a guerrilla fighter. But somehow psychologically, they were, and even I went there, they fooled us. And they were able to eliminate us. And then we came back and they used religion. And so we chose this Islam and this Islam and this Moorish this and wearing all of the symbols therein thereof. And what that did was gave us tools to divide us from 90-something% of the people we were trying to bring out of darkness into the light. So now we must come back without any disguise, with the power of truth, with the wisdom of the universe. And as Baba said, break it down so a baby can understand it.
So you know what, Professor, you said something important. You were talking about just revolution. Can you talk about how being part of this conference. Someone asked about when is the conference. So the conference has already happened. It happened in the end of April and the 1st of May in Detroit. And so
tell them how many hours is on the tape. That's what's so phenomenal. How many hours of the conference will they be getting?
It's 12 hours. It's 12 hours. It's the whole entire conference for $20. But can you talk about why it's a revolutionary act, given what happened in February, for us to now purchase this? And why purchasing it is a revolutionary act?
Well, any act that opposes an oppressive force is a revolutionary act.
Right.
So I need to make that statement. So the idea that you got all these minds telling you how to become free within your own domain. Because remember, there was all these different levels. We had community leaders. What do you need to do in your community? We had people talk about economics. Well, what do you need to do with your dollars? We had people that talked about culture. How can culture be a medicine? So they got 360 degrees of information, and you're getting it for $20? And you can watch it over and over and over. Have your family watch it, your children watch it over.
With your notepad in hand, taking notes.
Yes.
And
But you know, yeah, I think, and I want everyone to understand that, you know, this $20 and, you know, purchasing this is because the original idea of this, you know, that was that derailed us from having this in Egypt is why we need to purchase it now. Because
we were not derailed.
It was absolutely right.
The ancestors altered our timeline.
Yes. Yes.
And we held the conference in the place that the ancestors thought was most appropriate.
And we had a standing room every speaker.
It smelled like sage
throughout the whole conference.
It smelled like sage and black love there.
We couldn't have done that inside of Egypt.
Yeah. No. And that's why it's really important for people to support it. You know, a lot of times we're asking for things, and you know, but then when things are presented,
we're not asking for anything. We are giving away 12 hours.
Well, no. I'm saying no.
I want you to listen to me. We are giving away 12 hours of the most extraordinary scholarship for a minimal donation of $20. The $20 don't even come close to purchasing the 12 hours of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that's embodied in this document called a DVD. And it's something that will answer multiple questions that the average African person has. Multiple questions that you have, that we've heard over and over in so many different places, will be answered by this DVD. So we're giving it away, but we're asking for a minimal donation for the document that we're giving away.
That sounds great. And you can rent it. I'm just going to add that in there.
Okay.
You can rent it too. You should purchase it, but you can rent it too. All right. This is why I like these elders coming on. They just got put you in the right perspective.
No, I can be a bully. I don't mind. Sometimes I'll be bullying. But I want people to understand, when you're talking about 12 hours of the finest, most loving and dedicated scholarship on the planet for African peoples, you just can't find that anywhere. So $20 is not a cost to anything. That's a slight minimal donation for something we're giving you that will save you and your family's life and redirect your family entire's future. You know?
Yes.
And that's what the document is. It's not entertainment. It's a transformative tool for your spirituality and your reality. Because you learn that they're the same thing in the course of that study.
Ashe, do I?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry, so everybody knows where to go. I can put up the video link, but either way, just you can go to hapifilm.com. It's right there. You click the button, it takes you to Vimeo. You can rent it or purchase it. It's digital, so you can download it or you can just stream it for like 25 years.
And let's come back and talk about some of the contemporary things. We see people right now, they're rallying around, and we hear all the news thing about gun violence. Then we hear the enemy attacking bail reform. When the truth is, most of the persons that have been arrested for these shootings were not people on bail at all, but they had put together a criminal enterprise for incarcerating young Black men. We did get some minimal relief from that with bail reform, and this fascists want that taken away again. So we don't know who's paying who to drive around our community and shooting at people. And it's not, don't let anybody think, oh, that's not possible. Raping our women and raping our men and murdering us in genocide for the last 400 years in the United States of America, you would think that would not have happened, but you better not forget that it happened.
Yes.
And it's still happening.
And that needs to stay in their mind. That
Yes.
needs to stay in their mind. Dr. Small, when I'm taking people to Africa, like to Ghana or to Tanzania, or the first thing that an African in America asks me is, it safe? I almost have to laugh. I'm like, do you realize we got more people in prison than all the prisons in the world?
Yeah.
And that the majority of them are Black people? And we get more Black people shot on the streets every day than all the Black people around the planet? And you asking me, is it safe to go to Ghana? Is it safe to go to Tanzania? I almost have to catch myself to stop, because that's the programming.
Yes.
That's the programming they've been, to even ask me a question like that in the belly of the beast, the most violent place on the planet.
That's why history will erase that mystery, because we don't even study basic African and American history.
Right.
The most basic. We don't study our family history. What happened to Uncle John? How come Baba Joe end up in jail for a crime he swear he never committed? How come his children end up on welfare and on drugs because he wasn't there in jail for a crime he didn't commit? And mama now forced to work 2-3 jobs to make ends meet, and the children have no supervision. How come when this thing attacks our community in that way, how much damage does it cost across the board?
Yes.
A sister friend of mine who's a human rights attorney, Esley Duntor, and I wish y'all could meet Esley Duntor. She heads the Free Haiti movement. And one thing she said to me last week, she says, until we close Angola Penitentiary, we can't say we've fought against slavery in America. Because that is the epitome of the continuum of slavery against African persons in America. And she's right.
Yes. Wow, that's deep.
Damn.
So people, the struggle continues. The struggle continues. And all of us are part of it. See, some of us say, oh, we just let them do that. All of us are part. And I want to say this to my religious community, that they need to be part of this HAPI movement. And I don't want to say anything bad about your religion. I want to say that Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, all those other isms that I left out might have saved your life to get across troubled waters when you had nothing else. But now you've crossed the water and now you're trying to get free, and none of those religions can free you as an African people. So in order to embrace African spirituality of who you are, you still got the boat on your back trying to go over the mountain. So you carry in the Islamic boat, you carry in the Muslim boat, you carry in the Christian boat, you carry in the boat, you carry in the boat over the mountain. Let the boat go and say, dua, thank you, Judaism. Thank you, Christianity.
For what
thank
you were
you,
able. Thank you for the
saving my
momentary
life.
sanctuary.
Right. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for giving me sanctuary. Thank you for helping me pass troubled times. But now that I have reached the other side of the water, I'm gonna put the boat back. And now I'm going to embrace my African spirituality to freedom. So that's, I don't want to sound like a preacher, but I want them to understand that's the only way they're really going to get free. They got to thank all of these religions for saving them at a particular time. And now it's time to embrace your African spirituality, which is life in itself.
They need a 12-step program.
Yes.
The 12-step program.
Yes, just like you get off of drugs, you got a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Alcoholism, 12-step program.
Because they become addicted to something that make them feel free while incarcerating them into a deeper slavery.
Yes. Jua, thank you, Brother Small. And taking my class as part of that 12-point program.
And get one to Africa.
And getting to one Africa.
Okay.
We may have to,
the next go around, we may have to offer this class only to clergy and send a letter to all of the clergy in our area asking them to take the course. We've got to be brave enough to take it right to the doorsteps of the temple. Because, I've been lifting up Freemasonry for a reason. And a lot of people have been looking, trying to figure out what the hell is Small doing? But it's been effective because I was trying to reach the young people who listen to you, Baba, and then listen to HAPI. And a group of them called me the other night and they had a Zoom with me. And I had young Masonic brothers from 23 states on the Zoom, trying to figure how to bring this wisdom we're talking about to the brothers in the lodge. That's deep. You see?
Yeah, that's deep.
So
remember, it's back that illusion. Freedom is happening. Liberation is happening. But the facade is that we're still divided and disunified.
Right. And this is what the brothers were talking about. They weren't from one jurisdiction. They weren't just Prince Hall.
Yeah.
They were from Solomon. They were from the 4 letters, from the 3 letters. Some are from lodges that are white dominant. They were from all over the different jurisdictions of even Prince Hall. Mm-hmm. And they said, we want to end this jurisdictional barriers. We want to come together as one African. That's one of the things that HAPI have triggered. These were young men I was talking to 3 or 4 nights ago from across America. This is unheard of. Now, I don't want them to pull a GM James shit on me, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think they figured out I have a retaliatory probability that James didn't have. So they would be caution on how they approach me. And I did raise the issue, and the brothers showed interest about what is the craft that boasts of Amun-Ra in 360 versus 33. Another conversation. But I just wanted to know these young people did pull me together this week from across the country to say they want this body of knowledge we're talking about now as a part of the discussion in the lodge. They want these jurisdictional barriers that's separating them, even as Masons, to be pulled out of their way, So we've made an impact. It has touched the spirit of the people. And they hear us. The young people hear us. I get calls all day, every day. They do hear us. So we have to do what you're doing.
And they're hearing us international.
Yes.
Like at the end of the month, next month, I'll be in Brazil, going to all of the major from Bahia all around. And there's an African group there waiting with consciousness and spirituality. So every place we're going, you know, going to Jamaica, going to South America, going to Peru, there's an African community and people who are not African that understand that we're the truth.
Yes.
I have a student from North Korea who got all my tapes and my books, and he's in North Korea.
I get calls from Thailand.
African who don't have no melanin. That's what he told me.
Because people understand that slavery is slavery.
Yes.
And they want to be free.
And they want to be free.
I'm from South Carolina. I was born there in this body. That's the state that was one of the worst in the country in trying to abuse African peoples. We waged one of our earliest rebellion there, the Stoner Rebellion, you know, in the 1720s. That's the first state that withdrew from the Union and started the Civil War. And on and on. You know, the Klan may have been born in Tennessee, but they raised in South Carolina before they even got a foothold in Tennessee, you know. And so in the last month, I've lectured in my home state 3 times. They just called me back. I'm going to be in Charleston, South Carolina next Saturday.
I just put that up.
Right, y'all did have it up. And I'm like, wow, my brothers and sisters at home are waking up. And that Gullah Geechee culture out of which I crawled and grew and was birthed, you know, we come out of those swamps and marshes that white people was afraid to come in because of the malaria mosquito. That's what made us exceptionally different from the others, because he couldn't come down there and play his little master game except 3 or 4 months a year, and then he had to leave us alone to our African selves.
Like I said, we are so
African
powerful.
way.
We don't even know how powerful we are.
No, that mosquito.
I have how powerful we are.
Yeah.
I hope people get a chance to read my book, Mentu Hotep and the Spirit of the Magi.
Mm-hmm.
That will give them a small inkling on the power that they possess. You know, like if I mention the word samurai, everybody know what I'm talking about. If I say ninja, everybody know what I'm talking about. But if I say magi, people, what is that, a sandwich? They don't have no clue, you know. And I'm saying, wait a minute, these are the greatest warriors that's ever walked the planet Earth, and what never defeated.
You remember what's the white guy's name? He was working with a group out of South Africa, Paul Simon.
Yeah.
And he was working with a group out of South Africa, and apartheid was still going on, coming to the end. And the group was called Black Mombasa. One day, the leader of Black Mombasa was killed. They put him in a barrel and they burned him up. And people didn't understand why. And I see how police is looking like, why, Brother Small?
Yeah, you know what? I remember you telling me this, and every time you said it was in the paper.
If you ever watched the video of that song that they made with Paul Simon, you see the guy dancing on the sand dunes. But what he's doing, he's exposing a martial arts form that was supposed to remain in the society of secrets and not exposed to public. He had violated a code of conduct that he took an oath not to do, and they put that Boule Kai. They took him out. They didn't even discuss that shit. They didn't care how famous he was. You were not supposed to tell the world about this. We see people dancing in Africa. We got it with the Brazilian form, but all over Africa, our fighting form is disguised as dances and drama episodes. And you know better than anybody, Baba, because you're a master, you know. And you remember Baba Kalunde?
Yes.
You know, he was, you know, was really trying to show us. So we are lacking nothing that we need in our culture. That's the point I wanted to make.
We're the ones we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So It's important
And
to
if we
study.
just get out of our own way, the ancestors will lead us to freedom.
There's 2 movies coming out, right? Will Smith Group is making a movie about Nzenga. And thank God the ancestors has fixed it so one of my godchildren, who I won't name because he's in a special kind of position in the world, is also an extraordinary writer. And she's now going to be doing the overall writing, scrutiny of the other writers. And so we may get a good, plus my other goddaughter, who is the first person to replace Nzinga on the throne, Queen Diambi, who is the king-queen of the Society of Leopards. Not the queen, the king-queen of Congo, Angola. She's advising on the project. The other project that's coming out, the brother I'm working with now, Godfather, Brother Carl, he's going to be leaving in a few weeks for South Africa because he's going to be directing Shaka, King of the Zulu. And this brother has a lot of integrity. I know he'll have to battle a lot of the writers and stuff, and I've learned how that is. But there's a force rising up.
Yes, we can
to
feel
use
it.
this media in a way that it can be advantageous to our people. You know, that young brother that died that worked in Black Panther, even though I got mad about how they handled me because I was Killmonger, okay? And so I was kind of pissed over that piece. But what they attempted to do was beautiful, especially at the end where he deals with the redemption of bringing the wisdom of Africa. Because the thing about the special medal is really the wisdom they're talking about, right? And in the end, he brings that wisdom to Los Angeles. So the iridium or whatever, they weren't talking about metal, that was the metaphor. They're talking about a body of information.
Yeah, vibranium.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things coming forward. Let's hope that those two I just mentioned really is able to come forward with messages that can impact the consciousness of our young people.
It's going to happen. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. All right, family. Yeah, you know, we've been on here for a minute. We're gonna, I think we've said everything we need to say. Do you guys have anything you want to say?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You're good? Okay.
Buy the One Africa film and sign up for our masterclass and be part of the HAPI movement and empower yourself with this knowledge and wisdom because you are part of the formula of our liberation. That means all those people watching, you are part of it. Don't sit home because you're in Timbuktu or Chicago or Illinois. We are all part of it. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's get it.
Yes. I like that. And I want to say a special shout out to David Murphy. Thank you for your Cash App love. David Murphy actually went with us. He just came back with us when we went to Kemet 2 weeks ago. And he is going back with us when we go back in September. So thank you for you know, I want to thank him for his Cash App. And right there you can go to
masterclass. Is he taking our masterclass?
You know, I feel like he is on the list for the masterclass.
If he's going back, then he really needs it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like he is. And so, you know, I just want to thank him for the Cash App love. And guys, please, you know, nothing's too small on the Cash App love. Okay. And David Murphy is in the class. He's in the Madhu Netra class. So see, Dave's doing everything. Dave is getting it in because he got a little taste of you last time. So David's probably like, you know what, listen, I already know what this is. Let me come back. Let me get this class together, and let me then go back on the 9th, September 9th. And anyone that's interested in traveling with us, you can go to icadtours.com right there. And really, if you just go to hapifilm.com, everything's there. It takes you, You just look at the picture. I want this one, hit there, and it takes you to where you need to go. So yeah, there it is. All right, family. I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. Wait. Oh,
I just want to say to Professor Small, it's always a pleasure being in your company.
Oh, the same here, Baba.
I grow and expand every time we are together, brother. I just want you to know that.
And I appreciate you. That's very gracious, but I'm the same with you. Your body of wisdom, your skill, the time you've put in to learn. Because I've got all of your books. So I'll be reading you from the back door and the front door, you know. You put time in. You did the research. You listened to your teachers, you know, and you grew yourself and you constantly rebirth yourself. That's what makes a good teacher. Like you said, you go in with your cup empty, to have it filled by what you find there in the new places, you know, and that's the way to move. It's like one sensei used to say, the greatest the greatest thing to know is how much I don't know.
Yes.
You know, that's the way you are. And that's why you've been strong. And that's why they've given you the health you need. They've given you the skills you need to do this work that you're doing. Yeah. And the world feels your vibration. One you can vibrate around the whole world and they'll feel it. I think as people learn more, they'll begin to understand that we are the sun, you know, and each one of us as a sun, when you go into that class tomorrow, you will be Ra, and we will all be Aset, the moon that reflects the light of the sun that you are presenting yourself as. That's a metaphor for people to chew on. Each one of us can be a sun, and yet each one of us can be a moon, reflecting the light of another sun. And if we understand that and how this universe works, we'll grow and never stop growing. And the more we grow, the more we learn to be humble, that nothing that's called knowledge belongs to any of us. The greater knowledge we have, the greater servant we become to those who don't have knowledge. And once we're clear on that, everything else is easy. Everything else is easy. Don't mean you won't have crises, you won't have trials, you won't have, you know what I'm saying? We're going to meet all the same trials in the family, the children doing this, your mate and you may have some conflict here, you're going to have all those trials. But what this knowledge do is give us some more tools to help work through some of those trials successfully. And we won't be successful at all of them. But we would be successful at more of them than we would have been had we not had this body knowledge.
And Felicia, I say dua to you for having the insight, the integrity to keep us alive.
Mm-hmm.
Dua.
You're not just another little cute face. You are a master.
Cute face.
Let me finish. See, a queen king told me that the African woman is the power. That's a set. She is the throne. That's why it's on her head. She gives us authority, but she is the power.
And that's what you've been to, HAPI.
Yes.
The idea was there and everything, but you've been a great mother that helped pull that together. So I just want to say dua.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
When you see Haru sitting on the lap of a set, he's sitting on the throne. The throne.
He's only there because the woman allows him to sit there.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Could I have more conversations about that? I'm glad to just be sitting here as a mother. I just think about my life. I was talking to Professor this morning, when I woke up, I was just in such gratitude for this the festival that just went by, and just really feeling all the happy love that's out there, right? For this movement and for everyone involved. And I was just thinking, I was like, God, back in 2018, I knew nothing about HAPI. I had nothing. Like I was just going about my life, you know. And then I met Taki on the corner, and we started chatting. And now I'm sitting here in front of the greatest master teachers of all. So, you talk about like how February put us on the right track. I just think about Spirit is always putting us on the right track. So I'm just in gratitude. So thank you.
So do I.
Thank you. All right. Man, okay, I'm about to I gotta get off this little Zoom. I'm about to be crying in a minute. I tell you, I thought I would be able to get off without getting teary-eyed. You always do it to me. And now this time Mfundishi Jhutyms did it to me. Okay. All right, family. So I'm gonna just before we get off, I'm just gonna show some pictures. This is it's 20 seconds of some pictures from the festival that we were just, that we just had. That we were just part of. I can't even talk now at Commodore Park. And how many years have you been going, Mfundishi Jhutyms?
It's 51 years. I've been there 50 years. I was part of the independent African school movement called the CB, the Council of Independent Black Schools. That festival started from one school in it, and then all the schools came together. And then we had it, then it moved to Boys and Girls High. Then it moved, like that, yes.
Yeah, so, and I've been attending since Boys and Girls High. So I don't know how many years that's been.
Wow, that's what's up. Wow, that's what's up. Let me just give a quick shout out to Rodney Burton, another person that's in the class. We talked to this morning. He'll be in the class tomorrow. And then I saw Sydney Jones, who thank you for the Cash App love as well. He traveled with us last time, so thank you, Sydney Jones, for your Cash App love.
And again, those people who went with us and signing up for the class, I really want to say dua. I think they would have probably had enough of me.
No,
to go on the tour with me and be there with me for 2 weeks and then come back and want to be on my class is a great honor. I just want to say dua.
Yeah, and we didn't say the other piece, and then we're going to really show this video and get off here. But if you are taking a class with Mfundishi Jhutyms and you're actually going to travel with us in September, and we're about 50%, 60% filled with the trip. So if you want to go, make sure you can go, go and put your deposit in. He is going to have a ceremony for your certificate in Kemet. Like, that's dope. That is so dope. So that's just an incentive if you want to travel with us. And I think someone had said something about we need to travel during certain times. Because of how everything happened in February, this is all we're just doing things a little differently. But we normally do travel at times that are maybe a little bit more conducive for teachers. And we got a lot of things planned for next year, but this trip is definitely happening September 9th to the 17th. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna show these pictures, guys, because we had a good time. There's no music. Your babies. Yeah. Yeah, that coconut juice was, at first I was like, I don't think I like coconut juice, but because we had those big sugary drinks before, like we was crazy, myself and Dr. Botley, the next day we did the right thing. We did the right thing. All right, family.
Hotep, peace and blessings.
Hotep.
All right. Yes, peace and blessings. You took it. You took it from me this time, Professor Small.
Just remember, we live for eternity. There is no such thing as death.
Yes.
Peace and blessings.
Shem Em Hotep. Ankh Uja Seneb Neb. Aha too.
Thank you. All right, family. Just to recap before we go, to make sure everyone has everything. The HAPI film, we do have a film, okay? The documentary, HAPI, the role of economics in the development of civilization. And I'm going to put up, it's right there. Everything, you can find everything at hapifilm.com. All right. So make sure you, if you haven't seen HAPI, both of these gentlemen that just left, Professor James Small and Mfundishi Jhutyms, are both in the film. Mfundishi Jhutyms is also in the Tekken, and that's the we now have that on. We're now streaming it, which is really nice. I'll show it to you guys right there. So you can get everything. You can just go to hapifilm.com. It'll take you to this page. You can get all 4, 1, 2, which one you don't have. Definitely want to make sure you take care of that. Go to hapifilm.com and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, sign up for the newsletter. We're about to do something fantastic with this newsletter come September. So you have got to be part of it now. Okay, so make sure you are signed up. When you go to hapifilm.com, just hit get connected, and you'll be able to just hit the button, go sign, put your name in, and we'll add you to the mailing list. So make sure you sign up for the newsletter. And One Africa, I don't think we could have said this even. I don't think I could have said it better than what how Professor James Small and Mfundishi Jhutyms laid it out. In February we were going to Kemet, and we were going to have this beautiful big conference, and it was all derailed. But not derailed. Let me take that back. Let me take that word back. Just like what Professor said, we were not derailed. We were actually put on the right track, right? And people tried to derail us, but they did not. And what they didn't want us to do, we did. And so by purchasing One Africa, you are part of this revolution. But that is a revolutionary act, because the very thing that they were trying to destroy was even bigger. And every time we purchase it, or we send it, or we sit down with our families and watch it, with groups of people, we are fueling this HAPI movement. Not just monetarily, but spiritually, we're fueling it. The thing that they were trying to destroy is now available for $20. Okay, but this is so, it's so important, that you guys understand why we are going hard on this One Africa, because it's literally about power and unity. And just like Mfundishi Jhutyms said, there's a lot of what people are saying that we don't work together, but that's just simply not true. We do work together. We are working together, and we're going to work together even more. So it's important that we that we support. The trip to Kemet. Yes, the trip to Kemet. We are going, a lot of people that went last time are coming back this time. It's going to be a nice trip. Mfundishi Jhutyms will be our guide. And so right there, you can go to icattours.com, September 9th through the 17th. So the creator and mind behind HAPI, who also did Tekken and also did Nubia. Back in 1999, he actually said, "Oh, let me, start a tour company." he was going to Egypt, and he thought that other Black folks should go to Egypt too. So he started a whole tour company, and it's been in existence since 1999. So he has experience in doing this. So we're going back September 9th to 7th to 17th, Tyke Grant. That's who I'm speaking about. And right there, Tech in Nubia, you want to make sure that you have, they're now finally, yes, available for digital download. Yes. So you can still get DVD copies if you want to. And the last piece is the class with Mfundishi Jhutyms. You can just go to our hapifilm.com our website, and you can check out Mfundishi Jhutyms' class. It's going to be nice. Dr. Rosalind Jeffries will also be part. She's coming in as a student, but I'm telling you now, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries always has something to say, you know, when she gets inspired. She's a wonderful teacher. She came with us to Kemet this last time. She's traveled with Tyke before to Kemet, but she was with us this last time. Her and Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Asar Imhotep, who was in the HAPI film. He also was gracing us with his information on this trip, as well as Mfundishi Jhutyms. And so it was 85 of us, and it was great. So Dr. Rosalind Jeffries will be part of that class as well, virtually. So make sure that if you are even thinking about the class, like I said, look, we got payment plans. Okay, so if you don't see the payment plan, you just give us a call. If you go register, you can, the phone number and all that stuff is right there. You can just call us or email us, what you were thinking about. All right, fam. I think that is it. I feel like we've covered a lot of things, and I just thank you guys for being part of, being part of this movement. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to us. And I thank you again and again and again from the bottom of my heart, the bottom of Dr. Brittany Motley's heart, the bottom of Tyke Grant's heart, because I feel like we are all on the same page about this. We appreciate each and every one of you. Even if you are not in the, was not in the New York area and didn't come by the tent, but you send us emails, you send us text messages, you are contributing to us through Cash App, Super Chat, buying a video, a t-shirt. We thank you. You are helping us to get to our 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we thank you. And we also want to thank the haters, because the haters are making us stronger. So I will, so I just, and thank you from Trinidad and Tobago. Very nice places to travel. They have really good bacon shark, but I digress. Anyway, thank you so much for being part of this movement. And and I will see you guys next time. Peace and blessings.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?